আমার নাম আশিক, আমি একটা কোয়েশ্চেন আজকে এটা হচ্ছে ডিজিটাল কন্টেন্ট মিডিয়া স্ট্র্যাটেজি নিয়ে, চ্যানেল স্ট্র্যাটেজি নিয়ে। এখানে আপনাদের কয়জন এজেন্সি থেকে আছে? ক্রিয়েটিভ এজেন্সি, ডিজিটাল এজেন্সি, কয়েকজন এফএমসিজি অথবা কর্পোরেট থেকে আছে? ব্যাংকিং, বাকিরা ডিজিটাল স্টার্টআপ থেকে আছে? বাকিরা কোথেকে আছে? Students. Okay. So I think content actually it's the most important part. Whether you're a startup, whether you're in a marketing agency or a corporate, or whether I think insurance industry. How do you market your product? I think the content that comes out is the most important part. And I'm very happy that we have the right person to share about it. I'll talk about him in a little bit. Whiteboard the classroom session we don't give any certificates because we honestly believe that certificates don't matter in life. What matter in life is whether you are learning from the right person, whether you connect with the right people, network with the right people, and of course whether you apply it in the right manner. I think there's the three things that really matters. Whether you're a startup, whether you're a corporate professional, or whoever you are, businessman. So that's what we try to do. We try to bring the right people. We try to make sure that the right audience is there so that you can network with each other. And of course, you can even learn from the right person and execute in the right manner. So what happens in Whiteboard, I have my team here so you can also connect with them later. We see if you have a project, not an idea, a digital service that you want to hack or both hack, you can always connect with them. If you want to work in a startup ecosystem, you can share your ideas with them. And of course, we also look for new projects, new teams. Again, not ideas. Where you have a product that we can grow in our ecosystem. That's what we do. And at the same time, we can try to connect with the right people, with the right mentor, so that you can also learn and also most important, network. I think what really comes out of this is if you can find someone who knows something that you don't, or can do something for you that you probably cannot, that's the most important part. So do network, do know each other during the recess or during the days. So without further ado, I want to copy first of all, thank you to by the way, you guys don't need this, right? Can I also ask some of you to just fill up the front? I think I fill up it. It's easier for us to end up the discussion. Oh, you need this for the okay, sorry. So for the telecast, these guys need it, so that's fine. Okay. So first of all, thank you. Nobody wants to learn anything, especially on Thursday night. The first person to say no to any of these things. So I understand the Japanese connection, so thank you for that. This is going to be more of a discussion. It's not going to be a session. It's not going to be a lecture because I also want to learn from you. Some of you might know me. Some of you I might have already worked with you as well. So that's great. I can see a couple of my juniors from my school as well, which is also very good. By the way, you guys became in the final batch of GP Accelerator, right? Alright, so I think a round of applause for these guys. So, just my intro, my name is Hashmi. I look after the brands and advertisers for Google in Bangladesh, right? So, which means I get to work with agencies a lot. My primary work is in helping create the digital ecosystem of the country, right? And that mainly starts with working with agencies, brands, and people like you. What I've been very fortunate about, however, is I've been very fortunate to work with some of these, right? And I've been very fortunate to see some of these bigger macro industry trends and techniques that helps advertisers, especially in the digital ecosystem, right? And content is one of those things. Content is actually a big, it's a big area, but it's also part of a larger wheel. It's a small piece in a larger wheel. And hopefully today you will not just go back with some, redefined idea of how content works, but also an overall idea of how the digital landscape and where you fit in, and how can you make the most of that position, right? Again, any questions you have at any point, please feel free to ask, right? And there's going to be a lot of videos, so if the audio of the video is not clear, please let me know right away. Okay? Before we start, I just want to take you through what are the 3 or 4 areas we'll be covering today, right? And I think we'll be looking into 3 spaces. We'll be trying to understand the ecosystem. Right? We're trying to understand where content fits in, where overall visual players fit in, right? What are some of the big names and what do they allow us to do? How can we craft a great story? How can we craft great communication? And I'll be touching a little bit more on the advertising space. Because I think a lot of us are from agencies, right? Agencies and advertisers. Right? How many are from an agency background?
Thank you,
Advertiser or company kaaj korche.
Thank you,
looking after marketing. Those of us who are not already in that industry want to go there as students now and want to end up in that industry. How many of us are there? And who all of us is interested to work in the digital space? Already working. Correct. So that's more or less everybody, right? Which is what brings us together. So we'll be looking at that as well. How can we create some effective strategy and create experience? And the last one is that's slightly on the technical side, right? So I hope this is going to be helpful. It's how you plan for that media mix, right? What do you do when? What product do you use when? And why do you use it, right? And how well do you use it? How frequently you use it? I'm going to try and cover that as well. Now, this session is usually very long, but I'm going to try and condense it so that we go over the main points, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, right? And first of all, I just want to spend some time talking about the ecosystem. Before we start, what do you understand by content in general? Like if I can take a few questions, if I can start with the back. What is content to you? Or what do you think content is?
ঠিক কইলেন না যে আপনিও তো ধান্দাবাজি শুরু করছেন কি কইছিস
Interesting. So it can be value that can be delivered through different media. Anybody else, please? It's visual. The idea of visual. Any other ideas about what content is? What does content mean to you? Does it? Okay. Content key. What does content mean to you? Any message, right? That's effective or not effective, but message. So essentially, it's all of these things, right? But often I get the question is that where is the ecosystem going, right? And because we want to work in this space, we need to understand the bigger picture, right? And the bigger picture looks something like this. Digital video and content is set to win the next decade, right? And I think even beyond that, right? Before we talk about this, how many of us remember Alif Laila? Alif Laila কখন দেখাতো? 8:30 কবে দেখাতো? ফ্রাইডে? কোন চ্যানেল? যখন দেখতে তখন কয়জন মিলে দেখতো? ও লোকালিটি। আর কয়টা টিভিতে দেখতেন? এখন আপনার সবচেয়ে ফেভারিট টিভি শো কি? টিভি শো বাংলাদেশ, সরি টেলিকাস্ট ইন বাংলাদেশ ইত্যাদি কবে দেখায়? স্যাটারডে অর ফ্রাইডে। কয়বার দেখায় বছরে? 4 বার। আগে কয়বার দেখাতো? Why do you think হানিফ সরকার এত টাকা পয়সা করে এখন 4 বার করতেছে? যেটা সে বছর আগে একবার করতো, যে শেয়ারের উপরে সে একবার খাইতো, সে এখন 4 বার কেন করার চেষ্টা করছে? I mean, he's a great guy, we love his content, but why do you think he's trying to do it 4 times as opposed to 1 or 2? So because even if he does it once or twice, 4 বার করার পর we're not 100% sure ইতালি কখন দেখাচ্ছে, or we don't know ইতালি কি দেখাচ্ছে. And Italy is one of my favorite shows, right? But the reality is that today's ecosystem has evolved to the point that video, especially video content, is inherently based on mobile. Or, when mobile na hai, it has something or the other to do with the internet. Now, the internet is a beautiful thing. It allows us to talk to other people, but it also changes the way people behave. Right? These are some numbers that are global, but I think even Bangladesh, it's very relevant as well. Do you watch more TV now, or do you watch more YouTube, or do you watch more Facebook video, or do you watch more video content? Even if when you're watching video, the television, apna hate ki thake? Probably your phone, right? Can you tell me the last time you guys watched television, or anybody you know watched television? Just television like nothing else, no other interruptions, nothing else, no other devices, no other content. But for how many overs? The whole match? Till halftime. Okay, but even then, I think a lot of us, yeah, I usually have my statuses pre-prepared. So usually the khela hare tale ekta, khela jitla ekta. But the idea is that we're connected, right? And the challenge for you is because videos, there are different devices. Because video is becoming, even music, right? Music streaming is becoming one of those things that is inherently based online. Look at how interactions work these days. Interaction has now changed from just watching a box as opposed to talking with it, commenting on, engaging with it, sharing. So now communication itself has changed. Right? And that poses some challenges. Challenges like this. Behavioral challenges, especially when we used to talk about video. Apnara jokhon movie dekho, remember watching movies back in the day? How many of us went to a DVR, sorry, what do you call this? VCR. How many of us remember going to that? Okay. And what was the price? Mone ache karo 20 taka theke shuru hoto, 30 taka 100 taka notun movie hole 150 taka, right? Bhara kinle karo beshi, bhara na aro kom chilo. Bhara beshi. So that has now given away to this, right? In fact, we try and watch leaked episodes all the time. And that's okay, I think everybody's doing it. And especially if HBO is leaking websites and episodes themselves, then I think it's fine. But the idea is that we're not fixed to one person controlling that information flow anymore. Right? Second one, and this is massive as well, is how television or how video is captured. Right? The one image on the left looks at a typical casting or typical production set in, I don't know, what knows when, right? Now, you can create movies, you can create entire short stories on one device. And what do you think is the impact of that? What do you think, what's the power of that? Can you tell me? The fact that apne a small phone, you can create or shoot 4K videos. It's a power technique. What's the advantage? Flexibility, okay. More content, more power. I'll give you an example. CNN recently, BBC, and all these big guys, content Twitter or news create, they had a very strong editorial board. Lots of checks and balances, lots of processes. Now they have something called citizen journalism. Have you heard of citizen journalism? Citizen journalism is what we're doing all the time, right? Bangladesh, Google Maps, where do 90% of us get our traffic information from? And what is that? That's crowdsourced information. So that is a big change. The last one is this. I'll share a story similar to what I saw about 2 years ago. So the was like around February. So we went to our village, and after the entire truck process I went for a walk. So on my way back, একটা ফোন নিয়ে এরিয়া থেকে এরিয়া ঘুরছে। সাথে একটা এরিয়ার মধ্যে হলে ওরা একবার ডানে যাচ্ছে, একটু ফোনটা ধরলো, তারপর আবার পছন্দ হলো না, তারপর দিকে দেয়, তারপর একটু গাছের পিছে গেল, গাছ থেকে সরে গেল। They're trying out different places, and একটু পর ওরা ফোন দেখছে। What do you think they were doing? Network, right? And ওরা কি দেখছিল? What were they consuming? Some video, some content, right? So I went into investigate. They were actually trying to play a video, right? Watch the Musa cinema play এটা বুঝছিল না যে কেন সে he or she has to go this or that way. But one thing she knew was যদি সে গাছের এখানে দাঁড়ায় তাহলে মানে তাড়াতাড়ি স্পিড প্লে হয় আর যদি একটু দূরে দাঁড়ায় তাহলে অল্প আস্তে প্লে হয়। সো এই জিনিসটাও বুঝতে পারছি যে আমরা সার্টেন এরিয়াতে দাঁড়ালে আমার ভিডিওটা তাড়াতাড়ি প্লে হবে আর একটা জায়গায় গেলাম ভিডিওটা প্লে হবে। Somebody once told me যে একজন তার একটা পিচি কাজিনকে একটা ম্যাগাজিন দিয়েছিল। Remember a magazine? Like a paper magazine? Paper magazine টা দেওয়ার পরে কতক্ষণ এরকম করে ওলটপালট করলো এই পিচি স্কুলে এখনো যায় না but knows a lot of things. To the point যে ম্যাগাজিন মানে এখন ওলটপালট করার পরে the পিচি said আব্বু কি এই আইপ্যাডটা ধর। So because it was an interacting, it wasn't a touch device, they don't understand it. And it's not a good thing or a bad thing, but it's what's happening. And we have to accept. And I think this is the Alif Mala example. We all remember watching television actually family chat, but today it's very different. Right? It's more democratic, there's more power. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because it's getting harder and harder to reach your audience. Right? And we face that challenge, especially from a traditional background, when we come into from traditional background advertising, because আগে যেখানে একটা শোতে একটা নিউজপেপার একটা ইনসারশনে অথবা একটা অ্যাডে I could reach 90%
আমার এখানে ঠিক আছে আমার মোবাইলে পাচ্ছি না
to the point that it's almost impossible to reach your entire audience base using
আমার
one
মোবাইলে
form of English.
ট্রাই করতেছি আসেই না
আপনি যেটা চিন্তা করে দেখেন from an advertiser point of
এখানে
view, it's even a bigger
আছে
challenge.
ওই পর্যন্তই আছে
The reason it's a challenge is because আপনার as an advertiser আপনার কনজিউমারের সাথে
উনি তো আবার
the only place you can interact with that
দূরের থেকে
are called interception points. So I'll tell you an interception point. আপনি ফোনে আপনার ইন্টারনেট লাগে Grameenphone website or Grameenphone brand, that's a potential interception point. যেখানে আপনি তাকে বলতে পারেন যে হ্যাঁ তোমার ফোনে এখন তুমি নাম্বারগুলো ডায়াল করলে you can get this in. অথবা for example আমি শপিং এ গেলাম, right? আমি PQS অথবা আগ্রহতে গেলাম. Every time I go to the cornflakes section and I look at the cornflakes area, it's an interception point for our cornflakes. So any and all opportunity you get to interact with your user is an interception. Now a question. Do you think today in the modern age, আপনার user সাথে you have more interception points নাকি আগে আরো বেশি interception points? How many of you think it's এখন? You should see a raise of hands. How many of us think it was more in the past? Now my second question. I think because of the access to information, এখন আপনার আরো বেশি access আসে to interception points. Because a person is not just looking for a brand when the person needs the brand. I'll give you an example. If you're a telco, because we're being housed by Grameenphone today, I'm going to use a lot of telco examples. But let's say আপনি যদি একটা telco user হন, আপনি কি কি consume করছেন telco? Internet, voice. So এখন যদি আমি বলি যে হ্যাঁ only voice নিয়ে দোকানে করছি, তো আমি যখন রিচার্জ করতে যাচ্ছি, that's the only interception point for the Grameenphone. Is that correct? Why not? So you're using your phone for the information, you're consuming the service, right? Absolutely. So I'll explain this. For example, আপনি এখন ইন্টারনেট বেচতে যাচ্ছেন, right? ইন্টারনেট বেচতে গেলে আপনি যখন ইন্টারনেট আপনাকে নিতে আসবে, তখনই আপনি হয়তো তার সাথে সেল করতে পারবেন। এটা হয়তো আইডিয়া, but now আপনার ইন্টারনেটটা ইউজ করার পরে he's going to see videos to some social media. He's going to go to Facebook, he's going to go to Snapchat, or he's going to go watch some cricket. If you're selling internet, all of these are interception points because they're using your service to access a value or a piece of information. But they're using your service or can potentially use your service. Which is why it becomes challenging because although there are more interception points, there are also more people fighting for that attention. I'll give you a quick example. Macha Raja Ilish, Bati Raja. When did you see this last? When did you see this communication first? 93-4, right? 3 বছর পরে আমাদের 3 বছর আগে আমার জন্য। But I still remember it. What is last 2 বছরের মধ্যে? এবং আপনি যে ব্র্যান্ড নিয়ে কাজ করেন সেই ব্র্যান্ড বাদে। So for example, আমি যদি Grameenphone এ কাজ করি, I can't say শপে যাব না। Okay? আপনি যে ব্র্যান্ড নিয়ে কাজ করেন তা বাদে Can you tell me one or two lines that you remember instantly from the last 2 years? Excuse me. So any jingle that you remember last Agri Watcher? Last Agri Watcher, did you hear it? I think East West Property on it started. Coca-Cola, opening happiness. So let's talk about Bangladesh. Okay. In the last 1 or 2 years, I think it's very. It's a Ontor is on. Mojo, right? But I don't think there is one jingle that everybody remembers within a few seconds. It's because there are more people vying for that attention. It's not because we don't have creative mind, we have much better creative minds now, I feel. But it's just that more people are vying for the attention. So the challenge becomes that video, especially content, is everywhere. We watch on multiple screens at the same time, right? Often simultaneously. And I think this is the last one, the most important one. Viewers are much more young and much more impatient. Bangladesh's total population koto? 170, 160 million. এর মধ্যে কত percent is under the age of 24? It's actually near 60%. As of the latest data, it's under 60. So between the ages of 24 and Nietzsche, we have the highest, one of the highest groups of under 24 population in the world. It was 50% last year. I think it's going to be around 55% this year. And why do you think that's important to know? Okay. Okay, so it helps you understand your target demographic. After you sell for it, if you're a brand, why is that piece of information important to you? Besides being able to target them, why are they very valuable? But why is targeting youth itself important? Yes. So they are users of today, users of tomorrow. So actually, they are going to engage for it, and if you can convert them, and if you can drive loyalty from them, then there's a chance that they will stay on with you forever, or at least for the next 10 years. Right? That's why it's important, and that's why this viewer, the fact that viewers are young and impatient is very important. Now we talked about the setting, and we want to understand two things, right? How can we find more customers? That's important, right? Because there are more of them, especially in a country like Bangladesh. And once I find them, how can I stand out in a cluttered marketplace? Because it helps you do three things. It helps you get reach and attention, right? Attentive reach is what we call that. It helps you influence them, like truly influence them, not just influence them to go buy something, but influence them to change their nature and way of doing things. And three, it helps you understand and measure the results, which I think is very, very important, and one of the key fundamentals of digital, right? And just to kind of give you an idea of how cluttered this space is, this is two lumascapes, or we will call landscapes. It's so cluttered that you can't see anything. And I'll just tell you what this is. This is content marketing lumascape, which essentially looks at all the brands, doctor solutions that are happening across this space. And this is the video lumascape. So let me explain this to you. On the left-hand side of here is marketers, people who are marketing. Essentially, they're the ones who are advertisers like yourselves. So you'll see big brands like Google, consumers. So closer you're to the right, you're closer to the consumer. The closer you're to the left, you're closer to the marketers, right? Which is where we are at this point. And if you look at closer to the consumers, you see brands like YouTube, right? Facebook, Twitter. And you know, even people like Samsung and Philips are also creating content as a brand. But, and also, sorry, if you also look at this side of the thing as well, for example, native lumascape or native video hosting that lumascape, who are hosting that content, right? On the left, you'll see people like Blogger who are creating that content, right? So the one takeout from this is that it's very, very very competitive. Right? Imagine having to stand up in this space. And remember what the challenges were? Beta challenges, right? That also, how do you get new customers? Or how do you talk to your consumers? The second also, how can you hold up their attention in a cluttered market space? Right? So, do you think it's very easy looking at this two numerous steps? Because I think someone, as correctly somebody mentioned, content is actually not just video. Video is a very strong component, but there is more than video, right? And that content can come from any of these sources. And we think of Facebook as being the internet in Bangladesh. See where Facebook is. It's a small portion of the overall landscape, right? And to be honest with you, one session is not enough to cover this entire thing. So we'll pick up the point ones. And it's not just that it's a global problem, it's also a Bangladeshi problem. So first of all, 50% of Gen Z kara, not us, although I like to think I'm in that part, but I'm not. Our children higher children, like class 4 to 5, even in school right? Or just leaving school. 50% of these Gen Zers across the world say that they can't live without YouTube. I think it's also they can't live without Facebook. I think it should be more. In Bangladesh, because we sit on so much data, 3/4 of all YouTube videos that are watched in Bangladesh is in the arts and entertainment category, 75%. Right? People are consuming a lot of entertainment content. And nearly all of the Bangladeshi channels. And the reason I put this out there is because it's not just the only online or digital people are in the online ecosystem. Big brands like NTV, Choice, Mustafa Farooqi, Mustafa Karim are joining people like Salman Muqtadir, Ahmad Sadiq, and are being as present and as active and as aggressive on YouTube, or on Facebook, or on Instagram. It's because, why do you think they're doing that? Why would you do that? If you were NTV, you are making billions every year. Why don't you make a team of 5 people and be active on digital? But your customers are television audiences. Why wouldn't they spend time on YouTube? Absolutely. And that's one thing that I didn't talk about. Content is also equal to money.
সেটা তো কমন অপশন। এটা ছাড়া আপনার কাছে কোনো ব্যাকআপ অপশন আছে কিনা যে এটা কি ক্যামেরাতে ক্যামেরাতে কোনো কাজ
Asif Bhai, who's the head of Ganchil, is a good friend of mine. And he was telling me that he still continues to get more than 500,000 views monthly on his song Jhoom.
আমি জানি না, আপনি বললেন।
But it still continues to get views. And especially if our content is active, especially with if you go on Facebook and you get a video like it doesn't give you good suggestions there. Some of this content were uploaded in 2014 continues to get views. And the thing is, for these guys, views is equal to money because they can monetize this resource. So they have a potentially unlimited duration of income that comes into their pocket, and because people are recording it. If you also notice to the left, and this is very important to understand, no matter which platform you're on, is that content is made up of 3 big elemental parts. One is the creators, second is the brands, the advertisers, right? The agencies who help them get there, and the users. I'll talk about that in detail later on, but just to give you an understanding of how big this space is. So what I did for you is I simplified this, right? And this is where we start understanding the platforms, right? And I've divided it up into 2 parts, right? Agriculture branding, agriculture performance. Anybody knows what these 2 differences are? Okay. The clear difference is that branding, or let me start with performance. Performance are portals, or assets, or services. They can be used for it. Online transaction online or the business are making. So, for example, somebody like Yahoo, AOL, or even Google search makes money based on their website, right? Because when Google search function, we're placing ads, and that's how we get in money. That's a performance player. Let's also look at someone like Wipro or say an e-commerce company. They are a performance player because of the main business on their website. So anybody who has a website, or anybody who's using that website to make their, which is their main source of revenue and business, is a performance player, right? So which is the biggest one here? Amazon, right? Amazon is very, very big. So what their websites are, and other places like TripAdvisor, Expedia, all these guys are also performance players, right? And branding are people who are using digital or using web, right, for branding purposes. Their key business or their money for the Tata website of the cash direct. So Grameen Phone would be a branding player. Unilever would be a branding player. Flipkart Key performance player, right? Instagram, is that a tool for what? Branding or performance? It's actually both. So that's why, if you look at Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram, you can see that they cross this boundary very deeply, which means they can serve both branding as well as performance purposes. Because I'm going to help you understand what to use based on your objective. This is the start of it. And if you look at television and other traditional media, they're slowly on the branding side. Because essentially, television is very, very good at driving awareness, right? But a newspaper ad is very good at getting awareness. But it's not very good at telling someone যে আপনি এই ওয়েবসাইটে যান অথবা এখানে যান এখানে কিনুন এবং কেনার পরে ওইটার কস্ট পার কনভার্সন কত ছিল অথবা রিটার্ন অন ইনভেস্টমেন্ট কি ছিল it's not very good at doing that, right? Whereas somebody like like a YouTube or a Facebook আপনাকে ব্র্যান্ডিং গোলসও দিচ্ছে at the same time যদি আপনি ট্রাফিক আইটাকে নিয়ে ওখানে কোনো রকমের কনভার্সন করাচ্ছেন it helps you measure that as well. So the first step for you to understand the ecosystem is to understand the players. And you'll see many different types of players. So for example, television is on this side, Twitter is on this side, Snapchat is on branding. When you're thinking of, the reason you need to think of this is after you're plan শুরু করো অথবা কোনো রকমের স্ট্র্যাটেজি যখন ডেভেলপ করবেন তখন কিন্তু আপনার ফার্স্ট অবজেক্টিভটাই আপনার বুঝতে হবে যেটা আমাকে কি দিচ্ছে and then you choose a side. Fair enough? With me so far? And I'm going to focus on some of these big kind of content players and help you understand what they do. So I think everybody knows Facebook. Everybody has been using Facebook for longer than we'd like to. But from an advertiser point of view, from an agency and a brand point of view, there are 3 or 4 things why Facebook stands out. Right? The first reason is it gives you fast reach. Quickly you'll be able to reach a lot of people. Right? Very quickly. You post something, you boost something, you get a lot of quick traction. Right? Secondly, people are spending a lot of time. A lot of time. More time than we would like to admit as well. There's a reason that we Facebook. In fact, there's also a reason that Facebook for workplace initiative. Right? It's because we're spending a lot of time, especially in this part of the world. And what they also deliver, which is identity. At a man's identity, knowing who the person is, right? And it's a mobile-first platform as well. So that's the benefits of Facebook. And there's more, but I'm just talking about it from a advertising point of view. Then comes my favorite social media, Instagram. Now, Instagram was a very simple service about a year ago. A year and a half ago, right? So it's going to upload a filter, hashtag, and you'll be very cool for your friends. But they didn't really make a lot of money. So what the platform decided to do was, okay, I want to make a lot of money, and that's why they started doing advertising. So first they kind of copy pasted what Snapchat did with stories, and they did it very well. By the way, globally, Instagram stories has the same number of users as Snapchat. It's crazy, right? And the good thing is, Instagram is very well delivered. একটা হচ্ছে হাই এঙ্গেজমেন্ট। এঙ্গেজমেন্ট কারণ ইনস্টাগ্রাম হচ্ছে খুব নিশ একটা অডিয়েন্সের জন্য, এবং ইনস্টাগ্রামের মেইন জিনিসটা কি, দ্য পাওয়ার অফ দ্য ফটো, রাইট, অর দ্য কন্টেন্ট। এবং যারা ইনস্টাগ্রামে লগ ইন করে, they actually intend on looking at that content and actually is very invested in it, so they pay a lot of attention. As started as Facebook, which means attention span doesn't get as divided. In fact, I find myself looking at product posts on Instagram more than I do on Facebook. So I'm doing Instagram at a boot. I mean, I play a lot of football. I used to play a lot of football. I'm a big football fan. So I'm going to Pro Direct or boot advertisement. Advertisement. I find myself looking more at Instagram than I do on Facebook. Because Facebook, my intent is different. Intent is for discovery. Yeah. So that's that. And because there is strong engagement, there's also strong traction. So after the specific brand name, after this, and long-term traction and loyalty build position, then Instagram is a great option. Moving on, Snapchat. How many of us use Snapchat? Snapchat is very good for young audience. They are very sticky. They are very quick content, and they've been advertising it very well over the last few years. Interesting, but the one challenge is a lot of these elements are actually not available for download. So it's a big challenge. And then we have good old YouTube. YouTube is great for a few things. Like I would say, it delivers reach. People spend a lot of time on it. By the way, how many views do you think Bangladesh take YouTube for every month? Number of views. How many views on YouTube every month? Bangladesh. Billions is a very lazy guess. 100 billion. That's a very aggressive guess. So, by the way, around the world per hour, I think we have 1 billion. No, I think overall now we have 1 billion years worth of content. So, how many do you think per month for Bangladesh? 31. 30 million. Okay, anybody guess? Anybody else? Okay. For the sake of the time, 3.4 billion and rising per month. Billion. Yeah, 3.5 billion every month starting 2017. And this number is interesting because around 1.5 years ago, we were very surprised because around 1.5 years ago, this number was 300 million. So it went from 300 million to 3.5 billion very quickly. And there are reasons for it. I think overall the whole video ecosystem exploded because after our smartphone are much more cheaper. I met the folks at Linux the other day, and they have a smartphone which is priced at $15. Cheaper every year, right? And 4G sound. So all of these reasons make it a great solution. So we've taken a look at some of the ecosystem and some of the platforms, right? In the next part of the presentation, we'll talk about some of the cool strategies that we've seen people use. Okay? I think, would you like to take a quick 2-3 minute break or 5-minute break before that? Or do you want to go on? You want to go on? Sure. All right. The first step of understanding how to create a great, effective visual strategy. By the way, this is not a Bible. It's not like I know everything about this. But this is based on years of observation, and this is based on things that we've seen work. And it does not mean it will work for your brand, but it's a very good yardstick to help you understand and measure it. Right? In fact, a lot of the learnings, I'll show you some Google learning that we have, especially on YouTube and ads in the Google space. We look at over 6,000 different types of ads across 120 countries. We try to establish some common things that for you to understand. The first thing how we have to understand is the world of media has changed. I think everybody here admits on those stuff. Right? And today, when you start thinking about content, the challenge is to figure out these two things. So by now, you know platforms, PT platforms are saying. You know where they stand. You know where the ecosystem is going. But the starting point for content strategy is understanding this. Right? So, you have to first think of what does your brand stand for. Right? So let's do a quick exercise. Can anybody give me a branding knowledge? A popular brand. Arrow. Okay. Everybody knows Arrow? Yeah? Okay. What does Arrow stand for? 3 things that Arrow stand for. Okay, local. Local and also so local ethnic clothing. Anything else? Uniqueness. Okay. Fashion. Trendy. What else? Heritage, quality. Okay, so let's pick 3. Okay. Structure again what's heritage? Village, locality, heritage. Second what's trendy or fashionable. And third, sorry, quality. Okay, good. So these are 3 things that RM stands for. Now, let's go on to the right side. What does my audience care about? What does RM's audience care about? And it's not just brand that we have to think of. মানে এখানে আরো একটা কথাই বাকি আরো একটা টার্গেট কনজিউমার কি কি জিনিসটা কেয়ার করে No, the question is not about a customer. The question is about an audience. An audience is very different from a customer. A customer is a person who you have had some sort of an interaction with. Like I'm aware for a certain brand person. But it's after they have seen the communication, seen your product. Even before that, what does an audience care about? Let me give you 2 examples. I mean, the Adidas stands for Adidas. And their audience cares about what? Fitness. So the combination of these 2 is where they will start their content journey. Understood? So I got let's take the number 1 offering, which is heritage. And what does an audience, a potential consumer, an audience of our care about? Sorry? Contribution? Value for money? Okay. So there are many things that they care about. But let's take 1, okay, for the argument's sake. So I can also contribution. So do you see a space যেখানে heritage and contribution can fit? Right? And what would your message be on? If you're out? So it's easy for Arun because we all know it. But if you take any of the brands you're working with, the first step is to think about what does your brand stand for. Without which you're not going anywhere. Don't care what your boss says. Don't care what your client says. Client is a video viral over that. That's not the way to start thinking. You have to start thinking of where your brand is. Which is why you see iPhone never tries to be anything that it's not. iPhone does not want to be affordable. iPhone does not want to be innovative like Android. Right? They are very okay being an easy using product, but very good looking. And they know that their audiences care about vanity more than they care about price. Right? So that's why their communication is like that. Crystal clear, HD, trendy. And it's not just a type of communication type. You see communication will change and evolve with the time. Right? There's a recent example of, I think, Pepsi, who tried to do this ad with Kendall Jenner, right? And they tried too hard to attach themselves to their audience without really understanding what the audience actually cares about. They thought that their audience cares about diversity, which they do, but the messaging in which they did it didn't work. So that's the first step. The second step is to understand moments. Moments are, I understand it's a very googly way of saying things, but let me give you an example. Okay. বাংলাদেশে যখন বিপিএল খেলা হয়, বাংলাদেশ যখন ক্রিকেট খেলে, তখন বাংলাদেশের সার্চ সবচেয়ে বেশি কি নিয়ে হয়? স্কোর আপডেটস, সাকিব আল হাসান, আপনার মনে করেন how many of you like to cook? It's okay. When you're trying to cook and you don't know how to cook something, right? Like me, I'm cook right now, right? But when you don't know how to cook something, what do? You either ask someone at home or you search for it online, either on Facebook, on Tasty, or on YouTube. Last example, sorry. Asking YouTube to that's great. আগে যখন ফোন কিনতেন, right? say 5 বছর আগে আপনি ফোন কিনেছেন versus now ফোন जो লাগবে আপনার ফোন কিনবেন কি করবেন 5 বছর আগে ফ্রেন্ড কি জিজ্ঞেস করবো কেউ একজন মোটরসাইকেল নিয়ে আসছে ফোনটা দিয়ে দিচ্ছি তাই না only peer group but now friends are still there but you will still do a review and the reason I say this is because of two things একটা হচ্ছে অফলাইন একটা কারণের জন্য আপনি একটা অনলাইন মোমেন্ট ক্রিয়েট করেছেন right in offline I'm not saying just everything is happening on online things are happening offline that is why there's an online need trigger remember intersection points because offline moments এতগুলো হচ্ছে the number of online triggers are also increasing the more intersection points for you as a brand Bangladesh on average a smartphone user looks at their phone 120 times a day so imagine the number of times they have these moments so although the digital ecosystem is very cluttered although the digital ecosystem is very messy there is a way to pinpoint and blow up your audience at the right moment has a cooking show আপনার জন্য কোন মোমেন্টটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট I want to cook moments right if somebody is selling smartphone or data what's important I want more information moments and these moments can happen at any time at any point but it's important for you to identify them. Why is it important to identify them is because these moments are a clear signal of intent মানে বুঝেন না intent is agroho. Agroho is to buy or engage with something. And why do you think it's important for advertisers today? Why do you think intent is important? Do you think intent absolutely? Absolutely. Do you think intent is important? Aajke beshi like intent ago important chilo ekhon important ache samne thakbe. Always because intent is one of those things that is equal to revenue. আপনি ইনটেন্ট যখনই ক্রিয়েট করতে পারবেন যখনই ইনটেন্টকে টার্গেট করতে পারবেন ট্যাপিং করতে পারবেন তখনই you are able to convert that user or talk to that user. Now the thing is previously it was a big challenge to even find intent. Right? Because if you're sitting and watching Alif Laila, your intent is to watch Alif Laila, not to buy Damo or Anchor. Right? But that's when we saw those ads. Right? Your intent is to read the newspaper, find out what's going on, right? But your intent is breaking news, or your intent is to see the news, not to know a break a case concept. It's not. I mean, Islamic Bank break is not important. That's why intent is it's very powerful because intent allows you to make money. So, what would you do in this intent? You will help them do three things. You'll find that user behavior, especially on content, can be plugged into three big buckets. And by the way, this is going to lead to our model that I used to about. The first step of that model is to understand intent. The second one is to understand what they are doing. So, for example, web content here, we see that there are three types of users. Actually, people who are searching for relevant content. Right? So, if the cooking is an example, what's a relevant content? How-to videos. YouTube. So I only know YouTube data because I work for these guys. I'm sure if you know Facebook or other data, please share it. But Roja Sharma, we saw that YouTube overall YouTube 30% more watch time also than any other time, and 5 times more search for how-to recipes on YouTube than any other time of the month or month. Seeking relevant content is important, and you know what? Brands that we work with are taking advantage of it. We work with Pran, right? And one of the things that Pran did was that they created a series of cooking shows just for Ramadan. I don't know if you've seen it. They started out with one Facebook taste made and tasted videos that are over 30 seconds cooking. It's because they've seen that their audience is getting traction on these videos. So a lot of people are seeking help content or content. Sorry, they're seeking for relevant content. The other one is the majority of us who are tuning in for favorite channels or content or videos or type of things. For example, Mosharraf Karim now, we love it, right? Bangladesh, the most watched video last year was this Bollywood song. Very annoying song personally, but it was very, very big. It was the biggest actually. how many of us subscribe to pages on YouTube or on Facebook? There's a reason we subscribe or like, because they give us content and we're the first to watch it. So a lot of people are searching for it. I'm going to fasten up a little bit. And a lot of time we'll be browsing for new content. So I watch a lot of football videos, especially Manchester United. So every time I get a chance, I'll look for new videos. I'll look for them, look for the brand. Because it's relevant. How would you classify this? So they form a natural network. So somebody who's looking for relevant content, you can help them. Somebody who's looking for repeat content, you can create a hub or collection of it. As somebody who's discovering new content, this is one framework that we think can be used, or we suggest being used for content strategies. The hero, hub, and help content. Hero, hub, and help strategy. And the way it can help is this. If somebody is looking for help content, be the first one and have the best answer to the question. Right? If somebody, for example, I want to phone to the customer and they're looking for smartphone reviews, you should have a smartphone review of your phone, which is authentic, which can help him answer this question. Make sense? Or a blog or a review or something. If somebody is looking for new content, which they're looking for inspiration, they're looking for something that's going to blow their mind away, be sure to have some hero content. If somebody is looking for, I want to spend some time and I want to be I'm interested in something, I want to learn more, be also present there as well. Now, you don't have to do all of them at the same time. You can select what when to do and how. But it's important to keep this balance across your digital planning. So often, you get this question from advertisers and agencies. Advertisers say, okay, I want a YouTube channel, I want lots of videos. So please help them understand this first. The first task is to help them understand what is your objective, branding or performance. Then the question is, how do you want to talk to your audience? Do you want to help them find new content? Do you want to be associated with them? Do you want to wow them, excite them? And then help them put their content strategy in these three big buckets. I'll show you plenty of examples to help you understand this. Clear so far? And by the way, this is not very different from traditional advertising. By the way, one of the things that I hope to inspire you guys today is to understand that digital is not just a small thing. Digital is actually a big part of our overall communication strategy. So don't just look at digital as being a small brother in the corner, right? I think that us as digital pioneers should have that, gut and aura about ourselves. So the reason I say that is because if you look at what big channels, and I use CBS because they've been here forever, or even magazines have been doing, so they've been following the hero hub help content framework for a long time. If people are looking for help, they're coming up. Sorry, if people are looking for hero or inspiration or new things, they're coming up with new cover stories, like featuring Kim Kardashian, right? Or I don't know, like Shakib Hassan on their homepage, on their front story. They've been doing that and getting very good results for it as well. We buy it, right? If you look at hub content, which is I just want to spend time, I just want to be associated with the brand, I just want to get information. They've been doing that with things like Big Bang Theory, CSI Late Show. The whole thing is that it's almost addictive. It creates a stickiness with you and the brand. In this case, the stickiness is between you and CBS, but having these shows essentially means you know about CBS, you're continuing to use their airtime, you're continuing to give them revenue. So similar for Grameenphone, creating original music series, or similar to Banglalink, creating that detective series. It's because they want you to be attached to them. It's not just optional sell. Attachment is also very valuable. The last one is help. If somebody is looking for help content, news, traffic, weather, huge things. This can apply to any television knowledge as well. So it's already happening. It's not that hard to do. And as I said, this is what Hero Hub and Help essentially means. The three things that you have to remember from here is hero content must be entertaining, it must be inspiring. That's how you differentiate. And I'll show you some examples. Help should always be engaging content which is what returning to it. একবার দেখে চলে গেলেন এটা না, কিন্তু দেখে ফেরত আসতে হবে, তাহলে এটা হাফ কন্টেন্ট অথবা স্টিকিনেস ক্রিয়েট করবে। আর লাস্টে হচ্ছে হেল্প কন্টেন্ট। Every time somebody is having one of those moments, have something that helps them understand that. And as I said, you don't have to do it all at the same time. So if I look at a time and release strategy, hero content হয়তো বছরে 2-3 বার রিলিজ করবে, half content should be throughout the year, and help content should be in between whenever you can use it. Examples to help you understand what these are. So this is an example of a hero content which was released both on web and television, right? Sound আছে তো, right? Sound আছে তো?
Sound ওখানে ভাইয়া sound দাও।
আছে, just select okay.
Laptop root.
By the way, before I play this ad, this is a Mountain Dew ad, right? Remember what we talked about? Where does your brand stand and what does your audience look for? See if you can see some of these things in this video. This is a television app that was created.
That's my Kickstarter.
Would you like to know?
That's it. So do you think this is something that the like that looks okay? Let's see the video, right? Like, so is this something that you would associate with Mountain Dew? And how would you, where would you classify this? This is like a exciting, thrilling kind of video. This would be a hero one. Right? Now Mountain Dew did not just stop at this. Okay? Because as I said, we have to keep your users engaged, right? So what is a hero video or stop right now? So this is what they did. They created so they actually created of relevant content, right? Basically what they did was they understood that their audience looks for adventure, right? They look for fun content and fun activities. So they associated themselves by sponsoring this group of adventure junkies. ওদেরকে টাকা দিয়ে বলছে যে তোমরা এরকম কিছু adventure video করো and we will release it from the Mountain Dew channel. Because there is brand association. So let's look at one of these examples. By the way, this is a whole channel of ads. So these are the guys Devin Supertramp. And you'll see at the very end, we'll see the same thing as it said earlier. It all starts with the peak. Right? I'll give you a more local example of great up content. And personally, one of my favorites. So it's a 5-minute video. I'm not going to play the whole thing. Can you tell me why this is half content for value for? Local music. Art and what else? Why is this not a hero video but half content? There's our original hero communication launching from East. But also look at the length, 4.5 minutes. Hero videos are usually very punchy. The reason how you can differentiate hero versus hub, hocche je hero kaji hocche to give you quick awareness and quick brand lift. Hub video formula hocche stickiness. So do you think you'll be looking at subscribing to this channel more as opposed to the hero video? Because it has the chances of for longer. Especially if it's good, you'll be watching it for longer. A classic example was Coke Studio. Right? Coke Studio, even before Domina took over, there was some very good content. And the reason we know it's Coke Studio, and even if the major part was still, Coke Studio we format they use for it, but I'm not going to Coke Studio. বাংলাদেশে এয়ারটেল চেষ্টা করছে তো আমার কাছে হ্যাঁ এয়ারটেল Coke Studio হচ্ছে অথবা এখন গান বাংলা করে which I think is very good. I actually like Windows Change, very nice. When Windows Change এখন original content release করে রবিকে একদিন ছিল sponsor, I think I don't know if Robi is still a sponsor anymore. But the idea is stickiness and traction. And by the way, it's not just this gun release for each other for a gun release person. This UFON East campaign was launched around what product release for GP Music. So you see how it works. So they had GP Music, which they had a hero communication. They spent a lot of money with us to get that going. But at the same time, at the back end, they created a list of songs, original songs, that are UFON East and Grammy Association of Art. But how can a man say gun make comfortable and I'm going to subscribe to it? That's not how it works. You have to trust the brand to go and engage with them for a long period of time. That's why this is created. Very good example. And I'm going to show you what a help content looks like. Okay. So a bit of background. In India, you know Kellogg's, right? Kellogg's is a brand, we know Kellogg's. So in India, Kellogg's in 2015 was struggling with brand equity and sales. When a brand was only the share of cost, our sales wasn't going up. So they tried a lot of things, didn't work. One of the interesting things that they tried was Kellogg's is one thing that has breakfast connection. Into Kellogg's cornflakes we think there's only one way to have it. So either you have cornflakes every day and you get bored, or you don't have it. So the challenge was okay, in order to increase my sales, I want to let people know that Kellogg's and cornflakes are different type of content. Into they didn't have a content or they didn't have a strategy. They didn't and I put the television ad in the horror, they're not watching my ad. So I need to get them hooked. So what these guys did was, in order to solve that problem, was they created a television series, but for YouTube and Facebook. The television series was named Gupta Ji Ki Family. Gupta Ji Ki Family for 10 weeks, for 4 weeks, every 2 days, they release a 10-minute video. When we video Gupta Ji family busy, like a typical soap opera situation. People are Hindi serial. But at the same time, they were showing that every day, Gupta Ji and his family were finding a new way of making conflicts. So this became the most watched show and channel in India for those 4 weeks. Because yes, it was interesting that Gupta Ji, Kellogg's, but at the same time, it was also health content because people were finding out interesting ways of making breakfast, which is a very important thing for all of you, right? And obviously, their sales went up 35%, but that's not important. The important thing is the traction that it brought. So I'll just show you a quick example.
That's not fair, Papa. You always do this. मेरे पास 7 बॉयफ्रेंड्स हैं, मेरे पास आपके लिए टाइम नहीं है, ओके? मैं तुम्हारी एज का था, मेरे पास एक भी गर्लफ्रेंड नहीं थी, यार, इसीलिए तो मेरे पास एक भी गर्लफ्रेंड नहीं है।
ये बदतमीजी से बात करना कब बंद करोगे तुम?
यार, मैं बदतमीजी नहीं, मैं तो बेवकूफ और पागल भी हूँ। अब देखो, अब मैं अपनी प्यारी सी पति गट्टू के लिए और अपनी प्यारी सी बेटी रितु के लिए बनाऊंगी केला एंड बनाना नाश्ता। तो सबसे पहले लेंगे हैबिट बोल और इसमें हम क्या डालेंगे?
बदमाश। सबसे पहले बोल में आधा कप पिघला हुआ बटर लें, आधा कप कंडेंस्ड मिल्क, 2 बड़े चम्मच कैस्टर शुगर, 1 कप क्रश्ड कॉर्नफ्लेक्स, 3/4 कप मैदा, 1 चौथाई चम्मच बेकिंग पाउडर, 2 बड़े चम्मच कोको पाउडर, 2 बड़े चम्मच चॉप्ड वॉलनट्स। अब इन सबको अच्छे से मिक्स करने के बाद इस बैटर को पेपर कप में पोर करें। अब इन्हें माइक्रोवेव में डालें and it's ready. Cornflakes wallet muffin.
So very quick 2-minute video sets the context. Like it's not an advertisement, but by the way, did you guys notice Kellogg's in the background? Right, brand placement done. Kellogg's ne kothai bole na, but they have used it in the product. Right? So another way of promoting your product, but being smart with branding at the same time, increasing your business metrics as well. Okay. Interesting so far? Yeah? Super. Now, so now we look at the landscape. We understand the different platforms. We understand objectives can be different. And we understand that there is a framework, right, of setting your campaigns and setting your overall content strategy. But we haven't talked about the most important part, right, which is the creative itself. The creative or the video or the content itself. Now, I wanted to focus on video because I think video is booming in Bangladesh more than any other content. But also another reason is that video is also very intuitive to videos. We love watching videos, especially with audio, right? And what I'm going to talk to you about very quickly over the next 20 minutes is how can you create effective content that works for your brand. And this, by the way, is based on a Google study that we did with 6,000 different television and web commercials. And we measured two things. We measured two things. One was view-through rate. View-through rate মানে জানেন? View-through rate হচ্ছে যে একটা ভিডিও কতটুকু আমি ভিউ করলাম। কত পার্সেন্ট আপনার আপনি যদি 10 জনকে একটা ভিডিও দেখায়, এখানে যদি 2 জন ভিডিওটা ভিউ করে, তাহলে it's 20% view-through rate. By the way, on YouTube, you have to watch it for at least 30 seconds. Or on Facebook, I think it's about 3 seconds or 5 seconds. Right? Instagram, I think, is about 50% of the video as well. The other one is brand lift. Brand lift also, which is more important. It also says that brand ke apnake doshonke dekhalam ajke. Dui shopta ke apni jigesh korlaam do you remember this brand? And if 5 people say yes, I remember this brand and this communication, that's 50% brand lift. Right? It's a very simplistic way of doing it, but we have a very detailed study and just bringing it down to you guys. And we tested different factors. For example, the use of sound, or the use of celebrities, the use of audio. To understand what those factors have effect, how they have an effect on VTR and brand lift. And out of that study, we came up with 4 principles. The 8 chapter jinish, video it's not like a chapter, but if 1 or 2 of these 4 are used, then you have a higher chance of success with your overall brand lift and VTR and overall brand communication than if it didn't happen. Right? Again, it was a YouTube study, but I think this applies to content, web content overall. Right? So I'm going to start off by talking about these principles. But before that, this is important. Bangladeshi overall internet users are correct. What percent of them do you think uses their mobile to access the internet? It's close to 9%. YouTube is 70% is on mobile. Search 65%. Facebook, I'm sure, is close to that as well. The reason I talk about these numbers is because একটা সময় ছিল যখন আমরা ইউটিউব অথবা কোনো রকমের লং ফর্ম কন্টেন্ট আমরা ডেস্কটপে দেখতে যেতাম অফিসে বসে because free Wi-Fi are better experience. But companies like Snapchat, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook have realized that এখন ওই জিনিসটা হলে they will not be relevant in the new world. The new world is mobile only, especially in this part of the world. Ekhane 4G, 3G আসছে, but at the same time smartphones are less than 50 to 20 minutes. So these guys went back to work. We went back to work. And we made our apps, for example, the YouTube app, even I'm sure these guys work on it as well. We made it very light, right? We made it very user friendly. But I'm sure as long as you have a good connection, you don't get buffed. And we made it very intuitive. We know, or these guys can suggest longer form videos as well. Something that my mom captured very easily. She's like, I mean, I can get it and back our guns of almost all. So the beauty is that has changed the way we interact with it. And remember this, the whole content ecosystem is based on 3 pillars. You cannot forget these 3 pillars. Right? The user, the brands, and the creators. The users view the content. They subscribe, they engage, they give us reason to do this. Do you have a question? G. Brands are more, they are more relevant. As I said, if you don't present yourself, then the risk is you go up. So it's more of a need, it's a momentum issue. I mean, they have relevant now. Plus, I'm not sure the advertising is a bad thing. Inherently, we ad tech skip for a ad tech we try to look away from it. But if ads were such a bad thing, this wouldn't have been existing. They show what you do. Ad is actually a piece of information. So the answer is brands are relevant, but the way in which they need to be relevant has changed. They can't be someone who forces themselves into your eyes. You have to be smart about that. So that's important. The main reason, however, why brands are important is because users or creators get fun for a journey. Because users are doing but creators are doing who are creating the content and in fact bringing the users, and they can support the brands need to be there. And without brands, it's not going to be possible. At the end of the day, somebody has to pay for it. Right? So that's why all three elements are important. And more, I think before we go into, I think we already covered this. So I'm just going to skip over to this. One interesting story. Anybody knows what GoPro is? GoPro, Hero Camera, I'll share a personal experience, which I thought was a perfect example of planning across multiple screens and creating effective content. When the new GoPro was released, I think it was about last week or so shoot it. The first time I heard about it was an Instagram picture. It said, "At a खूब सुंदर, to be insanely beautiful at a picture here, नीचे रखा चलो coming soon." Within 10 minutes, I see another picture on Instagram and on Facebook which said shot on GoPro 5 or Karma. So you get launch it was a shot on GoPro 5. And within the next hour, I saw ads all over the Facebook, social media, YouTube, everywhere. Nowhere they were talking about, oh, you know what, GoPro is the Apple price, they can about. The first thing that they did was show us what GoPro can do. I'll show you that video. But you see how the progress happened? Ola Jane for them that their most engaged users is on Instagram. And then they know it's on Facebook. And then they know that our engaged with the page, I need more and more effective reach. That's when they want on YouTube. And then they blasted the whole thing across the screens. Eventually, they I was so interested that I actually ended up getting all these. At that point of time, it was very effective. And by the way, look at this. It's not just multi-platform plan, screen plan. So there's a, as I said, remember YouTube, Instagram is mobile and Facebook is mobile friendly. So is YouTube, but they planned on mobile first. So that's why they started there. And then they released their entire HD video with full screen, plus, as you can see, touch display, when they were actually showing features of the product in a wider screen, the desktop and YouTube especially. Ultimately, what they did was they achieved three things. A, they teased me with the content, then they amplified the message, and then they kept echoing it. Right? So they teased me with the product release, they amplified the message with a hero video, say, okay, find out about this, and over the next 1 week, they kept echoing that message saying that Hero 5 Kilo, you can go and buy it here. So I'll show you the original video, and you guys will see why I'm such a big fan of it. By the way, look at this. It's a 4-minute. I'll talk about length in a bit as well. Sorry, in the interest of time, I'm going to cut short. But you can see that nowhere they're going to mention the GoPro, what GoPro 5 is at the initial stage. They're just going to show us what's possible with the GoPro 5. So sometimes you don't have to talk about your product. You just need to show what's possible. And that works. Sorry, did they turn off the AC? AC on this side? Oh, okay. That's right. All right. So this is what we are talking about. The ABCD, 4 principles of effective content marketing, right? And we're almost near the end, but hopefully this is going to be very meaningful for you. Is even if you go into that ABCD principle, is to understand what is your objective. So is your objective like GoPro to start awareness, or is it to drive consideration between two brands that consider this and consider that, or is it to drive recall? And hey, remember we have some great products. Use these 4 principles to your advantage. The first one is you have to attract the audience, right? You have to attract them, you have to give them something worth seeing, or worth reading, or worth engaging with. The second one is mentioning your brand. Mentioning your brand is actually important, but don't just mention your brand like, okay, buy this and go away. There are many smart ways of mentioning your brand, like the GoPro example. The third one, which is very, very crucial, is to create a connection, right? And the last one is to direct them to do something. I think it's best that I just show you what these are. So, how do you attract? These are 4 ways you can attract your audience to start with. One, digital video or digital content, digital advertising is very different from traditional content. The number one reason is that people don't have a lot of time online, right? They're very impatient. On YouTube, the first 5 seconds of your advertisement is unskippable. So if you wait until the video is over, you lose 70% of your audience. There's only 30% views the entire content. So the first 5 seconds, it's important to front load your story arc. Story arc means the way you set up the story. The traditional advertising is check on last week I'm going to But online, if you do the same thing, 70% of the people will not get that message. So if my brand lift the টাকাটা spend করছে, it's going to go to waste. No brand lift. Second one, yeah, and there are very smart ways of doing it. Now you might ask me, yeah, traditional advertising 3 seconds হয়. আমি as an advertiser 5 সেকেন্ডের মধ্যে কিভাবে আমি short communication শেষ করব? But it's possible. So I'll show you some examples. And consider different creative styles based on media fixes. Let me show you a quick example. Check this video out.
Doctor! We need a doctor! Give me your money! This is our work plan.
Just fill out the paperwork.
Our contractions are 20 minutes apart!
First kid.
Please say tacos.
Tacos. Well, it is Tuesday. Second kid. By their second kid, every parent's an expert and more likely to choose loves than first-time parents.
Do I place the taco order over here?
Live, learn, and get loves.
Okay. Was there immediate hook? What's going on? No? Like, people rushing into the hospital is not immediately interesting? You do that a lot? I hope not. But okay, generally I would think that's not an immediate hook. Second thing, when did you notice the brand first? Did everybody notice the brand at the end? Did you remember that? I don't know if anybody noticed that the Love's brand, the diaper is actually hanging out of the bag of the person at the middle. No? Everybody remembers it? So it's very smart branding. So let me just show you very quickly.
Kid.
What's the cafeteria?
Right? It's very smart branding. So even if you didn't see the whole thing, a 30-second half decode, you still get some sort of a brand assertion. Right? Interesting. By the way, they didn't front load the story yet, but they created initial impact. Some more examples. Okay. Using familiar faces, right? Or using celebrities also has a positive effect on brand lift and views. Simply because they are known. So this is a very good example. This is a content. So it just starts off with Vasya Natri.
Seven summit. পৃথিবীর প্রতিটি মহাদেশে সর্বোচ্চ চূড়া অতিক্রম করাকে 7 summit ওয়ার্ল্ড রেকর্ড বলে।
By the way, do you think this is a hero hub or hub? Hub, because it's 8 minutes in length, right? And it talks about a story, a narration. It's not quick and big because of attraction. The reason people should be using familiar faces is because it's familiar, right? You should be getting better attraction. The second one is music. Now, this is a point of contention. Some people think, and for some brands, using exciting music helps, both branded and retail. But sometimes there's also the case for not using music at all, right? And still being effective. So this is one interesting case.
হয়তো বুঝবে না ব্যাপারটা কত ভয়ঙ্কর যখন রুচিতে থাকে এক অদ্ভুত অন্ধকারে যখন দম বন্ধ হয়ে আসে সম্পূর্ণ একা নিঃসঙ্গ হয়তো আমাকে একদমই খেয়াল করবে
Right. So I think everybody knows has seen this cyberbullying example. It was very effective. There were a lot of variety, but it didn't use any music at all. So while it worked in this case, in some cases it might not work. Right? But what we've seen from that study is if you use a music or a sound that's very, let's say, boring, right? Also too pleasing, something that puts you to sleep, you get the VTR and the brand recall goes down because people immediately go away. It's too boring. At the same time, if you use music that's too attractive, like a lot of bang bang right away, people usually tend to go away from this. So it has to be soothing and pleasing, but not too much or too less, according to this. Some more examples. This is very interesting. Oh, by the way, did I forget to mention? Digital actually allows you to experiment a lot, right? For example, if you have a television spot, television commercial that you created, and you have different cuts of the television commercial, right? It's very expensive for you to run the television commercial after 4 or 5 weeks and then say, oh, this wasn't great. It didn't work. So actually, one of the ways, and I'm talking to my agency friends here, one of the ways you can win more budget for digital is really before you run this commercial, let me experiment on YouTube. Let me see whose version works well. Maybe it could be a closed audience. And let me run that. Let me spend more money on that. Or even after you've run 2 or 3 versions, run it on YouTube or run it on Facebook for experimentation and see how it works. Because the beauty is that digital actually allows you to customize the communication a lot. Right? So I'll show you an example, and this one will play the entire video. So,
Soup has been nourishing humanity for millennia. That's why Campbell's believes no matter what life throws at you, we'll better soup than that. The trouble is, we only ever think to cook it when it gets cold. And with 2016 marking Australia's warmest winter on record, sales of Campbell's soup had hit all time. We needed to make a 20,000-year-old dish relevant in 2016. So we created Soup Tube, a pre-roll campaign with over 1,700 individual ads. Each one specifically tailored to the video you were searching for on YouTube. Excited for the new season of Orange is the New Black? You'll be served this. If you're listening to single ladies, you'll see this. Trying to make sense of world politics? Can't let go of Let It Go? Looking for fail videos? Searching for carpool karaoke? Catching up on UFC highlights?
That's what's going on here. They're capturing one very important information, which is intent. And based on that intent, they're changing the same message to fit that intent. So if somebody is looking for a certain type of video like Trump or Orange is the New Black, they're saying we've got a scoop for that. But again, we have a line which is like, if you're looking for fighting videos, are you fighting hunger? Right? Or this can be made even more contextual. There was a company in USA, Xfinity, and they give internet, right? So what they did was they targeted everybody who was looking for sports videos. And they said that sports videos are fastest on our network. Now imagine that level of granularity on other media. It's not possible because you're not able to understand the intent to start with. But again, in order to make your content stick, if you can understand what the users are looking for, you can design your content and you can do it for very cheap costs as well. This is all they had to do was just change the text, right? So you can test, consider different styles as well. And moving on very quickly. I think brand placement, we've already had a look at this as well. Let me show you a couple of examples. I think this is, for me, this is actually one of my favorite case studies and content that I saw in the last 2 years. So,
Das ist die andere Sache, die Franz.
He's got long hair, and if it works, you guys didn't know it.
I think a lot of books that read about psychology, behavioral science. I've spoken at TED Talks. Really?
Wow. You look nerdy. Like you think you're cool, but you stand there. أكثر شيء مركز عليه التراث الإماراتي واللغة العربية.
And I also think people remember. Yeah, even I feel that. أنا وايد أحبها. دائما يعني معلومات كثير أخذ في الموضوع. طبعا يعني ضخم. He is mature, like he's like cheddar cheese. You mean basically massive. Extreme sports athlete. I just got a pretty high risk activity for sure.
Your actions speak louder than words.
God, whoa.
I'm only surprised.
It was amazing when the lights came on and you get to realize who you're actually conversing with. This was my expectation of you. This is what you really are.
You guys think we saw it. I didn't expect that.
The doctor was somewhat who I would expect to be, a heavy metal musician.
I should have these tattoos, not you. That's how you look.
When I saw Garrett on a wheelchair, I was completely taken back. Hey man, come on.
مجد لعبة افتحته ما مكتوب عليه شيء ما مكتوب عليه كله.
And the minute I turned around, I saw that labels أو الشعار أو المؤلف أو التصنيف هو بس للعلم مش للناس.
ترى واضح. يعني المفروض ما تحكم على واحد بالشكل.
الشخص مو بلازم يعني ننتقده بشكله لكن أول شيء نتعرف عليه قبل. It changes your mind, your perspective, your mind.
lights. So, yeah, thank you, I like that. You see why it's so effective? I think this is help everything. Right? This is so effective. And I would watch this. I present this at many conferences. I watch it the entire time. Right? Now, by the way, when did you realize there was a Coke commercial? The lights went off. But I don't know if you noticed, but after much time there were red cans. Right? So even if you skip the ad at that point of time, you would still see, okay, it was something to do with a red can, which I think we know is Coke. Right? So again, that powerful content can be very, very effective, as you can see, especially when you're branding naturally. The last one, this third one, is connecting. And you can do many things. You can create an emotional connection, right? You can break the fourth wall, right? The fourth wall is essentially, you know what the fourth wall is, right? The fourth wall is when you're looking at a camera, right? And you interact with the camera as if you're talking to a person on that side. That's breaking the fourth wall. So usually these guys talk to each other. They don't acknowledge the fact that there's somebody watching on the other side. So it's the wall. The camera is the fourth wall. So the moment you break the fourth wall and interact directly with the person, it's called breaking the fourth wall. Imagine the interactivity that increases. And the power of audio and quick talk. So let me show you some examples. This is my favorite example of using 6 seconds to communicate your message. 5 seconds actually. আচ্ছা আমি চলে গেল সমস্যা নেই I prepared That's it. That is the video. That is the ad. Imagine in your brand manager if you get the ball and 6 seconds ad banana. But then you will give it. Look at this. It's so effective. 6 things taken care within 1 second. And the video is actually less than 6 seconds. By the way, this 6 seconds is unskippable. So skip what the webinar, but you'll still get the message. Right? I'll show you another favorite example. It's so fast that we need to watch it twice. The new Mercedes is as fast as this video. Right? So you can get very, very creative with this. And once you get creative, it's also important that you connect with the audience as well. Right? And connection is actually the hardest. So let me show you two. Let me start with the balance sheet example. Right? I think some of you might already know this. Yeah. For those who don't, let me play this amazing ad that actually put us on the map globally.
Ma'am, এখন আপনার সেকেন্ড বাহ আপনার চুলটা তো অনেক সুন্দর কি করবেন না ছোট করব এত সুন্দর চুল চিন করে দিই ঠিক আছে না আরো ছোট করে দিই আরো ছোট এবার ঠিক আছে মনে হয় আরো ছোট করব একদমই চুলে যত্ন নেওয়ার সময় পান না আপনার চুলে কিন্তু লেয়ার কাটটা খুব সুন্দর লাগতো এবার ঠিক আছে ম্যাম আরো ছোট করে দিই যাতে এভাবে আর ধরা না যায়
So I think everybody's seen this app or heard about it. Just want to point out, it's not just a information data, it's also providing a solution as well. And this is the one, right? So brands with your content can be more than just an advertisement. It can be a social vehicle of change, right? And that's more powerful than any brand in sales metrics will ever get, right? And one of my kind of favorite examples of this is, by the way, sorry, before I go there, just want to spend some time talking about this. We often put a lot of ads on television or on YouTube, and we don't measure how the audience is interacting with it. So whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram, try to understand how many of your views are you retaining throughout the video. So for example, if you create a 30-second video, you'll see that some people who are organic or a video shoot on skippable 5 seconds but it helps you change your creative as well. Measure and understand I need to put this story arc here. অথবা এই জিনিসটা এই প্রোডাক্টটা এখানে ফিচার করলে ভালো হবে যখন সবচেয়ে বেশি অডিয়েন্স থাকবে I need to feature my product there, right? So analytics is very, very important. The last step, however, is to tell them and to call to action. And that's one thing that we don't do really well, especially in this country. So we create great ads, but we don't necessarily finish it off with a great call to action. Now, call to action doesn't always have to be buy my product, or come here or do something. It can be some sort of a social change. It can be something, anything that's of value to you. It could be a phone call. It could be a letter. It could be a like. It could be a subscription. Whatever is of value to your brand, and even more importantly, whatever is your target achievement or your objective for that specific campaign, that specific time of the year, you should always mention it as a call to action. Because otherwise, the communication just becomes a communication and not effective communication. So let me show you two examples of how to do it. So one, be very clear and use platforms. So I'll show you this. I think everybody should know about this campaign simply because it's that good. But even if you don't, I want to show this one campaign.
রমজান হোক সংযোগের সাথে এই চেতনাকে ছড়িয়ে দিন সবার মাঝে যোগ দিন স্পিরিট অফ রমাদানের ইফতার আয়োজনে
You can click here if you want, right? So, do you know this campaign? Have you heard of this campaign? Do you know which brand did this campaign in the last 2-3 years? Knorr, which is Unilever. It's actually one of the most successful campaigns for them. We work with them very closely on this. And the idea here is they're trying to drive traffic to this website, right? But more importantly, they're trying to collect meals. So, as I quote, they will collect meals from you and they will distribute it to people who need it during Ramadan. So, the call to action is very, very clear at the end of it. Please do this. And by the way, this does not help them sell more lawsuits. This does not help them make more money. It helps them get more brand equity, but even more than that, it helps them help society. Right? So content is that powerful tool which can help you influence culture as well. We're almost towards the end. I just want to cover one last thing before we dive off. And it won't be complete without talking about this. It's great that we have different types of content, but how do you use it? Right? What should be the optimum way of using it? And planning is the most important part at the end of it, right? So you've talked about the ecosystem, you've talked about the challenges, you know the platforms, you know the solutions, you know how to create great content, but you also need to know how to plan the whole thing together. Right? I'm sorry it's not enough time to go over the entire detail. I'll try and send a copy of this and you guys can read this later on. But I'll just talk about one thing. This is important. So the reason we need to think of YouTube as well as TV plus digital is because TV alone or one media alone is not enough to reach the entire audience. So because the number of people you can reach in the first stages. So imagine this room, right? Everybody who's in this room is the total size of the television or is the total size of the population. Now, I'm going to act media there, I'm going to reach for the check. Now, I'll be reaching, say, a certain spot, right? TV spot their target crowd. So if I target by spots, say I'll be reaching the 4 of you. And then I'll have to reach more people. But in order for me to reach everybody, I'll have to do what? I'll have to target all of you. এখন আমি সবাই যখন টার্গেট করতে যাবো আমার প্রথম অডিয়েন্স কিন্তু বাড়ছে না এবং you know that একবার একজনের সাথে কমিউনিকেশন করা is not enough. You show them one ad because of the number of content, they will not remember it. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to target you multiple times through multiple spots. So যখন যেটা হবে যে multiple spot যখন আমি টার্গেট করবো তখন কিন্তু আপনার টোটাল অডিয়েন্স সেম থাকছে, which means the same person is getting the message 3, 4, 5 times. So initially আমি যদি 1 টাকা স্পেন্ড করি and I get reach, আমার initial reach is very high because I'm reaching everybody. But over time, I'm starting to reach less and less new people. It is the same old people as well. So, you understand the challenges? Which is why we need to add digital. Because digital does not increase the number of people, but it gives you another screen. And chances are, television target many of you might not have seen that communication at all. So television adds another screen where you can get more attention. Right? And overall, it allows you to add more reach, which is very important. The last one is how do you plan for different objectives. So we have a couple of case studies. And we look at multiple different ways. So say if you want to talk about an event, you want to change your brand perception, you want to amplify your content, there are many different types of reasons and objectives why you might need to plan for content. Increase purchase frequency or any objective. So I'm going to focus on one. I'll try and send you the rest of them so you guys can take a look. So which one do you want to do? Tentpole event, brand perception, product launch, brand perception. Which one do you want to know about? Let's look at brand perception. Okay. So brand perception, by the way, let me explain this carefully. Okay. So this curve basically looks at 3 things. Area impressions is the amount of reach you're getting. So more impressions mean more money you're spending, more people you're reaching, right? It also time. This is time function. So pre-seed basically means before a certain launch. So usually the brand perception change a brand perception packet, you want to change it. So before you launch that main communication, there's a pre-seed period. And then comes the objective, second objective also. They want to reach a lot of people and create a lot of mass awareness at scale. And last also, you want to drive consideration conversion. Consideration also, like a product this product is better than the other product and it's worth considering. Right? Last also conversion, which is buys. So if you want to achieve those targets, one of the, by the way, this is again a suggestion, is to start off with small spots on YouTube, like a 30-second spot, made for digital. At a point where you are ready to launch that brand perception narrative, you combine a television spot. So at this stage, you can have the awareness lead also. So you increase your digital spending, you increase your TV spot spending as well. And at the same time, you go for search because people are searching for your content as well. So a lot of people monitor after you look at the flavor launch person. This flavor is better than the previous flavor. As you make them aware of the fact that you have a new flavor, it should also help them find your new product as well. Especially when they're searching for you. Right? And both on social media as well as display. And last step we need to do is you need to remarket to the audience that you've got at this stage. So after TV, YouTube, you can still have some videos. But at the same time, the audience moment capture measurement stage, awareness stage, make sure you remarket to them. Remarket is once you get that person, tell them that, hey, remember our new flavor? This is where you play. Right? Let me actually explain another one, which is, I think, this one. This one, product presence. Product presence essentially means product launch of a person. So let me start from the top. Okay. So here is your TV hero spot. But even before hero spot, try and talk to your online audience. Increase your true view of the online video investment. So that you can create a tease factor. Remember what GoPro did with Instagram? Once you launch your TV hero spot, also have it launched on YouTube. and increase your social media presence as well. Because once people have seen this, they will want to know more about it. By the way, social media is very, very good for conversation. So you need to generate a conversation, but only after you've launched the product. And after a certain point of time, as you can see, remarketing is very important. But you need to start increasing your help and search content so that as people find out about you, they can buy you, especially in the consideration and conversion stage. And always have social media and quick bumper ads. Correct? Bumper ads, by the way, are very good for driving action. You see a 6-second ad, you tell them go buy or go subscribe or go do this. They're very quickly able to take it and engage with it. Right? So this is just a guide that can help you essentially plan. Right? And hopefully this will help you design your overall campaign strategy. Okay, as I said, I'll try and send you one of these so that you can use this together. Anything else? No, thank you. That's it. So, thank you. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Ashwin. I have two questions, sir.
If you have questions, you're more than happy to. I'm more than happy to take them or we can discuss it.
Or you can just note down his email address so that you can communicate with him if you have any query.
Yeah, well, I'll take two questions very quickly because I'm kind of running out. So he asked me to raise his hand first. Oh, sorry. So I need to talk about the format. Moving on to the YouTube ad format. I think ad format we will have to talk in more detail, but that's what we call the YouTube ad format. Content आगे जो ad place है वो YouTube पे in stream. Yes. It can be negative if the context isn't correct. So if the context is ठीक-ठाक, giving them a relevant piece of information is fine. So what I mean by that is if you're looking for how-to videos, or if you're looking for cooking videos, and if you have a spice brand, right, it's relevant for you to be in that space. At the same time, don't make it look like an ad to start with. If you make it look like some sort of a healthy content or something that you want to let them know, I think it's all right. But the other thing is YouTube especially gives the audience a choice. So if 5 seconds point, they can skip. Right? And if you see a lot of people skipping and not completing the ad, you know it's not effective. So you can quickly go back and change it. The other perception that we need to change is, I feel personally, the information is very helpful. But it has to be the correct information. And information is essentially advertising. Advertising isn't data. Advertising is information. Right? It has to be packaged in a nice way, effectively. And I think the last thing is that it's only in digital that you can do this. On television, you don't know what your audience is looking for. You know the type of content he wants, or content he's looking at. But you don't know if he's looking for a product or not looking for a product. If he's a certain type of person, you don't know. You have that visibility on digital. Information, you can make it more and more contextually relevant and accurate. Last question, anybody else? Yes. Mm-hmm. Right. Absolutely. I think retail is one space where we work with a lot of clients, and globally as well as Bangladesh we're also working. Retail is very, very exciting because retail and you can drive traffic from online to offline and vice versa. So if you're seeing that a lot of people are looking for, retail is very important because it's very effective because retail is all about retail. If you see somebody who wants to buy something, and if you can connect with him at the moment who is looking to engage with that overall category, offline at the store drive traffic, and you can actually measure it. Similarly, retail say Grameen Experience Center or GP Express. GP Express, you have a new line of smartphones. And it's one thing to share smartphone, but to be at top of his mind, you can also use your YouTube or Facebook to tell him that, look, that smartphone, this is the kind of reviews it has. or a smartphone is better than these products, or this is the smartphone that is used by someone on TV. So all that যে কমিউনিকেশনকে আপনি স্টোরে করতে পারবেন না, ওই কমিউনিকেশনকে আপনি অনলাইন করতে পারবেন। আর যেটা আপনি অনলাইন করতে পারেন, ওই কনভারসেশনকে আপনি কনভার্ট করতে পারবেন টু স্টোর। So it's quite possible. We're happy to. We work very closely with GP. So happy to take up that conversation later. Any other questions? I'll just take one more for now. Okay. Well, I just want to understand, was the session helpful for you guys? Is this the things that you learned that you didn't know? Or learned got refined? Okay. So if that's the case, then thank you. I'm very happy to take more questions. So please get in touch with Whiteboard, or you can get in touch with me over email. And we'll take it from there. Right? Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you so much, Ben. Thank you everyone for your patience. Good instruction into quality. That is, we will have a group photo now. Before that, jara reception sign up korbe, bishesh kore GP college jara achen, tara kindly our volunteer ache Anika, or kache just apnar naam and phone number take to sign up kore jaben. And jader hate feedback form ta ache, tara ekটু Shabin apar kache form ta submit kore jaben. Okay, let's have a group photo. Okay. সবাই একটু সামনে চলে আসি।
নাইম ভাই ডাক দাও নাইমে
সবাই একটু সামনে দাঁড়িয়ে যে প্রজেক্টের সামনে।
ওবাইদুল ভাই শোনো তো বন্ধ করো।
সবাই একটু মাঝখানে দাঁড়িয়ে যে।
শোনো,
হ্যাঁ মাঝখানে দাঁড়িয়ে যে। সবাই একটু সামনে মানুষজন একটু বসে যেতে পারি, সমস্যা নাই, এটা প্রতিদিনই পরিষ্কার করা হয়। Excuse me, may I too close here then? Yeah. Okay. সবাই আমাদের এখানে ফুডের ব্যবস্থা আছে।